everybody, welcome to Life Tree Astrology. I'm Pia. I'm going to talk about the solar eclipse that's happening for me here in Western Australia in Perth. It'll be happening at 6 o'clock in the morning, or actually, no, sorry, 8 o'clock in the morning. You can see that 8:01. And I wasn't quite sure if I was going to get round to doing this, but I'm just sneaking it in just before the solar eclipse. So you can see that the solar eclipse in my chart here, it's happening in Aquarius, and it's in the later degrees of Aquarius at 28 degrees and 49. And so a solar eclipse is basically, it is a new moon. It's a very intensified new moon. And of course, what makes it stand out from other new moons in terms of physicality is the fact that the body of the moon passes in front of the sun, and therefore dims or obscures the light of the sun momentarily. So in Aquarius, it's been a very Aquarian time. We've had a real full house in Aquarius, following on from that new moon in Capricorn. And so with Aquarius, it really brings this air of disseminating ideas. It's the sign of groups. If we look at the traditional ruler, which is Saturn, it's very much about structures too. And Aquarians are very much about reforming or improving structures and improving systems as well. And if we look at it from the point of view from the modern ruler, then we can also add, of course, that sense of future thinking, progressive thinking, and also a sense of rebelliousness as well we can add there, and sort of revolutionary energy as well. And Aquarius is a very interesting sign. It is an air sign, of course, so a fixed air sign. So with any air sign, there's a real focus on ideas. And I know that I can say that for sure for my son. He has a big stellium in Aquarius, and Aquarians are known for having those ideas, being very responsible in terms of they're very much concerned with social responsibility and larger causes and humanity, I guess, in a sense. Sometimes they can be, because they are so air focused, they can really be in their head, and they can seem a little bit intellectual, but I wouldn't say cold. I don't mean that, but they're not overtly, sometimes it's not the sign of sort of overt emotions. Of course, that doesn't mean that Aquarians don't have them. And so, yeah, so this is a very, and because it's in the end degrees of, it's not quite there on the anaretic degree, but because it's in the end degrees of Aquarius, it has that greater intensity and urgency to it as well. And so the ruler of this solar eclipse is Saturn. And Saturn, as you can see, is sitting in Aries. And of course, that was the big story a couple of days ago on Valentine's Day, that Saturn finally moved in for the very last time, for a long time, into Aries to join Neptune at that 0 degrees. And on the 20th, they will be exactly conjoined. And that's a really big deal as well, because it's known as the spring point. It's the sign of the spring equinox. So it's like a lot of people, traditions have seen it too. It's like the very beginning of the year. It's like a new, fresh start, and it couldn't be any more significant with Neptune and Saturn, two slow-moving planets, particularly Neptune meeting at 0 degrees. So we really are moving into a whole new era of Aries. And if we look at Aries, Aries is a young, or it's a fixed masculine cardinal sign. So it has this real impetus to it for action. It's ruled by Mars. It's what we call a youthful sign. It's action orientated, and it can be impulsive at times as well. But it faces things very much head on, hence its symbol of the ram, headbutting. And it is a very yang sign as well, masculine. And it's really interesting too when we look at coming back to that Aquarius as well, that, you know, that is a masculine sign as well. So this is a very, you know, action-orientated eclipse. And in the first degrees of, or the first, we call it the first decan of the Ram, it's associated with the Two of Wands as well, which is very much about dominion, about, you know, it's probably one of the most masculine tarot cards as well. So it's very much about asserting yourself in that very yang sort of way. So that's the ruler of this eclipse. So that's very, very interesting, because what it means is it gives this eclipse a real initiatory energy as well. And then, of course, if we look at Uranus, which is the modern ruler of Aquarius, but you can see there up in Taurus, Uranus is making its way to the very end of Taurus. It'll be leaving in April. And this is squaring this eclipse very tightly. So at 27 degrees, compared to the 28 degrees, 49 there minutes. So, you know, a square basically brings tension. And when we look at Uranus, Uranus is the great awakener. It's the, it basically shakes things up. Ultimately, it aligns, on the personal level, it aligns you to a more authentic path. And it's very much connected to electricity, to sudden events, unexpected events, to disruptions, to rebellion, to awakening, to having breakthroughs. It's very much related to innovation and technology as well. And of course, I was just thinking the other day, when we look at, you know, Uranus's path, you know, almost coming to an end now, 8 years in Taurus, there's been some really big changes, shocks, shake-ups, innovation in the areas of, you know, the finances, currencies, stock market, which is ruled by Taurus, and also agriculturally as well, in terms of yeah, the innovations and use of drones and automation and all those things within the, you know, the area of agriculture, scientific advances as well in terms of crops and growing, harvesting, all those things. So, so really, when we look at this solar eclipse, there is a very strong Uranian energy to this. So I guess expect the unexpected. You know, it goes without saying that there's a sense of rebelliousness as well, of revolution. And if we look around at the world, we certainly see that there is a lot of unrest and rebellion, a lot of different ideologies happening. But, and then of course, we've got this sort of initiatory impulse coming from Neptune and Saturn in Aries. Interestingly as well, when we look at Saturn is actually in its fall, considered in its fall in Aries. And that is because it is, it's exalted in Libra. You can see that on the other side. And when you think about it, you know, Aries it's hot, it's a fire sign, it's, you know, it's impulsive, it's youthful, it wants action, you know, it has that feeling of acting perhaps before thinking things out. And then you have Saturn, which has just moved into Aries, and Saturn is, you know, so Aries is spring, Saturn is winter, it is cold, it represents time, death, decay, structure, patience, diligence, rewards that are often come later through hard work and dedication. So you can see that there's a real contrast between, you know, the significations, the energies of Aries compared to what Saturn represents. So in some senses, I guess if we are looking at it symbolically, there could be aspects of structures coming apart. There could be aspects of people in power, perhaps, being removed or stepping down. But I think also, if we can balance those energies of the Saturn, of the Aries and that Mars energy, then there is a real ability to get things happening, to get some action. And it's I forgot to mention, Aries is a very individual sign as well. So there'll be a real focus on ourselves individually and what we want, what we desire, what it is that we want to build. And with, I think, in some senses, Saturn there bringing a bit of structure, the tap on the shoulder, sort of asking us to wait, to rethink, to put foundations down. And I think that's also important because, Neptune is there also at 0 degrees. Neptune is, the collective, universal consciousness. Neptune is boundaryless. Neptune represents water as well, but also, gases, everything that's diffuse or diffuse. And it's about beauty, it's about art, it's about empathy, it's about compassion. And so, which are all wonderful things. And, oftentimes we hear that people say, Neptune in Aries is the spiritual warrior. The thing to consider is also that Neptune, because it is diffuse, because it is, it also represents like glamour and Hollywood and photography, and there can be that fog or cloudiness, false idols, illusions. It can be confusion and fog as well. And so in a way, having Saturn there, Saturn is limits. Saturn can be there to really, keep us grounded, to provide those boundaries that perhaps we might need if we get lost within the Neptunian Neptunian energy as well. So very significant solar eclipse. Then there's another wonderful thing I just want to mention as well. So you can see that we've got Mercury has moved into Pisces. Now, Mercury is in its fall, it's in its detriment really, because its home zodiac sign is Virgo. And so you can see it's in the opposite sign of Pisces. Again, it's not like planets are bad when they're in their detriment or in their fall. However, it's just that their usual nature is not able to express itself as easily within the sign that it's in if it's in detriment. So when we think of Mercury, it's very much about quick back and forth movement. It's about logic. It's about intellect. And in the sort of watery waters of Pisces, Mercury has trouble really working and using its logic and intellect as fast or as much as it wants to. Interestingly, though, there have been some very famous poets and writers who have had this placement. And so really it's about Neptune, it's about Mercury using its creativity, its intuition, its feelings more, okay? So a good time to be creative, to write. So you can see that Mercury is in there, and also we have Venus. So Venus moved into Pisces, a while ago. Can't remember exactly now. Must have been a week or so ago. And Venus is exalted in Pisces. Okay, so Venus is very, very happy in Pisces. And there's that real, Venus's compassion, her sense of beauty, connection to other people and that harmony, the flow, especially artistic and creativity is really heightened beautifully in Pisces. So yeah, so you have this Venus is very, very happy there. And you can see that Venus is actually conjoined the North Node, exactly. And that is a really auspicious alignment because, or conjoinment or conjunction, because the North Node is stationed as well, giving it extra intensity and power. And even more beautiful as we have this connection here is that we have Jupiter in a trine, which is basically just a very supportive, beautiful alignment. So you can see that it's sitting over here in Cancer and is also exalted in Cancer. And so Cancer is at its best, its family, its roots, its protection, it's nurturing. And so you can see that, you know, what this really means is that you have a Venus in a beautiful alignment to Jupiter, and they are both very positive benefic planets. So Jupiter is considered the greater benefic, Venus the lesser benefic, and then they're seated with the you know, they're all connected to that North Node. So the North Node is interpreted slightly different depending on what sort of astrological tradition that you have. Very much so in modern and evolutionary sense, it's said to symbolize the direction that your soul wants to grow in, and it's like your soul's path. For ancient astrologers, particularly Hellenistic astrologers, it was just said to intensify whatever it was near. So in that sense here, it's really taking Venus's exaltation, her benefic exaltation, and intensifying it, making it even more beautiful. And in Vedic astrology as well, it's said to be it's meant to be, well, actually, it's meant to be the hungry head of the dragon, okay? Rahu, which is really like an insatiable desire for something. On one hand, you know, it can be interpreted as, well, it was said that the serpent basically had been cut in half, and so the head basically had no body, and so it just kept wanting to eat and consume, but really never got sated. And the South Node was called Ketu. And so one of the things that, of course, is that we always have a desire to grow, to have new experiences, to meet new people, and to go into new parts of our life or areas that we haven't been to before. And I think that's very much symbolized by this alignment. And I guess just a small warning to, you know, to perhaps check in with yourself and ask, you know, why you are hungering for something, and just whether it's ultimately good for you, good for your soul. So just something to keep in mind. But ultimately, a very, very beautiful alignment, especially for poets, for artists, for relationships, for compassion, for connecting and making beautiful art, music, painting, writing, whatever it is. It should very much support that artistic muse. Okay, all right. I am going to jump into the individual horoscopes. I'm going to start with Aries. I'm going to try and keep this a little bit faster. I have a tendency to go on a bit too much, and I just want to try and be a little bit more concise. Okay, Aries. So this is really a beautiful, would say, well, it's beautiful when I come to the Venus, but also with the solar eclipse that's happening in your 11th house. And so in your 11th house, it's all about your friends, your social circles, your alliances, mentors. It could be colleagues, and it's really about your aspirations as well. So long-term aspirations. And so with the solar eclipse here, it is, and I should mention for Aries as well, you've got Mars, which is your traditional ruler, sorry, which is your ruler of Aries, but you've also got Pluto there, which is very much representing, you know, death and rebirth and transformation. So I think for now, at the moment for Aquarius is, whatever happens around the solar eclipse, that could be an external event, it could be an internal realization. But there, if there is a shift for you, an event that causes things to change, it's really going to be related to that area of your social circle and friends. And also because the ruler of the solar eclipse is in your Aries first house, there's a real sense as well that it is tied to a real fresh start in you, really, your sense of you, what your values, your interests, how you feel about yourself, how you present yourself out to the world. So I really feel like these are really big times for Aquariuses. And also you've got that Uranus sitting in your second house. So there is a real connection as well here to finances. So whatever is moving, shaking, or changing in your life, which could be really triggered or pushed ahead by this solar eclipse or the events that follow in the next 6 months, that this Uranian energy as well is really bringing about the final changes to, how you make a living, your relationship to money, to financial resources as well. And then just lastly, Aries, you've had Saturn moving through your 12th house. Up until now, it's moved into your first house, but that can always be quite a tricky transit that's been happening over the 2.5 years. Really going, Saturn in that 12th house really is going through the restructure and ask you to look at some of your inner shadows, any self-limiting thoughts, any self-behavior that causes self-undoing, any traumas or sadness or sorrow. Perhaps it could have made you perhaps want to isolate a bit more and spend quiet time, but that has now passed. And I think, Saturn moving into your first, and then you have this beautiful alignment with Venus and the station North Node, trine from Jupiter and your lovely, your foundations, your home. So I think this is a really beautiful time for having that nurturing support from home, feeling very good about yourself in terms of your emotions, your psyche, and then, big changes in you projecting yourself out as well. All right, I'm going on too much. So Aries, all the best. I look forward to speaking to you next time. Okay, Taurus. So this solar eclipse happens in your 10th house, and this is, this 10th house is a very important angle. It's what you present to the world. It's your career. It's your public reputation, your public actions. And so a solar eclipse here, again, it can really bring about some big shifts, some big changes that make you review or make adjustments to your public role in Aquarius as well. That could be related to your values. It could be related to social causes or groups of people that you work with, and really with having Pluto there in your 10th as well. For the next many coming years, there's going to be some real big changes in what it is that you do publicly. And this is the ruler of this solar eclipse is Saturn. Saturn is sitting in your 12th house. So this is really interesting as well because Saturn and Neptune moving through your 12th house, you could find that the next few years, especially with Saturn there, that this could be a time where you do actually feel that you want to retreat a little bit more into your own space, your own sanctuary. The 12th house is traditionally a house where we keep a lot of unconscious things hidden, and sometimes aspects of ourselves that we're not really aware of. So it could be things that it can be sadness, depression, sorrow, traumas, things that we tend to keep down or keep hidden. And really Saturn moving through here, and also with Neptune, it is a time to really go through any aspects of your unconscious or your psyche that may need to be dealt with, to be looked at. It's a good time for therapy. But with Neptune there, there's a very good time to be taking on a spiritual practice to really, you might have a real sense of wanting to connect spiritually through some sort of spiritual practice or belief as well. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how you manage that sort of perhaps wanting to isolate for a little bit, what that means for your 10th house. Also, you've got Uranus in your first house, which is squaring the solar eclipse. So there could be some, some unexpected changes in terms of your career, yourself, how you feel about yourself, how you define yourself. Perhaps there could be a real core feeling within yourself that you want to make some changes as well to better align to who you truly are. All through this, you've got that beautiful Venus North Node alignment, which is in trine to your fourth, to Jupiter in your third house, exalted. So you've got lovely support coming from your local community. It's really encouraging you to spend time with perhaps siblings or neighbors or community, to write, to communicate in some way. It could be media, and perhaps just short local trips. And that's really providing beautiful support to your 11th house. So I would really be looking, if things are a little bit difficult at the moment, to be getting support from your friends. 11th house is beautifully supported by that Venus, your ruler. So this is a beautiful time for you, Taurus, and also your local community and writing. All of those things I think would be really, will really benefit you. And of course, if you're an artist as well, this could be a real time to, go into your artistic talents or pursuits as well. Okay, thank you, Taurus. I'm going to speak to you next time. Okay, so Gemini, this solar eclipse happens in your 9th house. So your 9th house is the house of faith, belief, worldview. It's your connection to the universe, to the wisdom of the universe, or to, it's the big questions about existence and your place in it. It's higher education, it's philosophy, it's foreign places, it's foreign cultures. It can be law as well, religion, and other faith practices. So here the solar eclipse could really be asking you to whatever sort of triggers any changes in your life, whether that's again external or internal. It's very interesting because the sun is in its joy in the 9th house, and the sun is really our guiding principle in life. It's that divine knowledge. And so really symbolically, with the sun's light being obscured for a little while by the moon, it could present as, perhaps a slight crisis of faith. It could be symbolically within that darkness that you perceive something within yourself that you know is true, something that you want to pursue. So yeah, that could be really interesting for you. That could involve, traveling, studying, anything to do with faith as well. And so that is ruled by Saturn and Neptune sitting in your 11th house. So there's really a big fresh start for you in terms of your colleagues, your friends, your social circle, your mentors. Oh, hang on a second. I don't know what that beeping was, so I'm just going to keep going. Yeah, so in terms of your aspirations as well, long-term aspirations. So, there could be a real shift in what is it that I want in my life? Who are the people that I share values with, that I want to spend more time with? And of course, you've got the Uranus there, which has been traveling through your 12th house. Again, that could be some sort of disruptions, surprises, breakthroughs. Again, as I said in the intro, expect the unexpected. But there could be a tie as well in terms of how you, your psyche, your unconscious, the parts of yourself such as sorrow or depression or past themes as well, past events that you're still holding on to. So it's really kind of an opportunity here with Uranus to really finally release some of the release perhaps any trauma or sadness or karma that you're holding there in the 12th house. And Uranus is really inviting you to do that, breakthroughs, rebellion. And then you have that beautiful Venus North Node happening in your 10th house. This is so beautiful for your professional sphere, for your job, and it's being supported beautifully by that exalted Jupiter in your 2nd house. So there is this really beautiful nurturing support from your livelihood, your material resources, how you support yourself. And it's beautifully connected at the moment to your career and your public actions, your public reputation as well. So that's a really beautiful alignment for you as well. Anything else, Gemini? Oh yeah, just forgot to mention too, like obviously you have that your ruler Mercury is currently moving through your 10th house. And really it's going to be I think, oh, sorry, I should know this, but obviously Mercury is going to retrograde soon. So it's going to be staying in Pisces for a very long time. Being your ruler and being in its fall, there might, and it's not going to leave Pisces till about April. There could be some, depending on, I guess, on, how you approach it, but just be aware that, you might not feel as sharp, or, you might find that logic, everything's not as tight as you might be used to, Gemini, but it's a wonderful time to sort of ease into that more creative, intuitive, emotional side of you. Rather than always being in your head. So it's a real invitation to open your heart and being a little bit emotional and creative within your workspace as well. Okay, thank you, Gemini. Talk to you next time. Okay, so Cancer, this is happening in your 8th house. And this is, I think, quite a, all lunations are especially pertinent to Cancer. You're ruled by the moon, so you're especially sensitive to the moon. And really, it's looking at some very significant new beginnings in your 8th house that could be triggered by an external event or perhaps an inner knowing or perception that comes to the surface around this time. New moons, or especially eclipses, can take up to 6 months to sort of evolve for everything to come out. But so new beginnings for you in your 8th house. Your 8th house is very much, there could be some, restructuring in terms of any shared resources that you have with people or other people's resources. It could be related to inheritances. 8th house is ending, so I'm not going to lie, it is the house of death, but of course, most often than not, it's represented by figurative endings, not literal. But it is the house of inheritance, of debt, investments. It's a very psychological house as well, very karmic house in terms of the karmic debts that we have with people, karmic ties that we have with people, sometimes karmic entanglements. And it's, sometimes it has been related to the hidden more in the modern times, the sort of taboo subjects as well. But so that some big restructuring, basically, I would say, there in that Aquarius sign, new ideas, restructuring. It's ruled by Neptune, it's ruled by Saturn sitting in your 10th house. So Saturn and Neptune really indicating that there's going to be a new fresh start for you over the next couple of years in Aries. So it's all about you. It's about what you want to achieve, asserting yourself, having a new vision for yourself in terms of your career and your public actions. And so perhaps the changes coming in the 8th, because it's squared to Uranus in your 11th house there could be a real sense of wanting to break free, perhaps of certain obligations or entanglements, financial or otherwise, that you have in that 8th house. And I think basically what it says to me is that any sort of shifts or changes that are happening in terms of those 8th house sort of commitments or karma are ultimately going to be freeing you up for a new chapter, a new vision that you have for yourself in terms of your career or your job or, what you want to do publicly as a job or as a career. And then you have beautifully at the moment, you've got exalted Jupiter sitting in your first house, which is a real blessing. Jupiter bringing expansion, attracting the right people to you, helpful people to you. Jupiter is, it brings fortunate luck. It also is, helps growth as well. So, and expansion. Yeah, and it can be very good too for learning and knowledge and wisdom and all those things as well. So it is in that beautiful trine to Venus exalted with the station North Node. So this is such a beautiful time for searching for wisdom, looking at your connection to the universe, your worldview, what are your beliefs in the world, religion, faith, all of those things. It would be a really beautiful time to, connect with people from overseas, for philosophy, for traveling or going on a trip as well. So very, very beautiful. You have great sort of personal support there through your first and in your ninth as well. Okay, Cancer, all the best. Talk to you next time. Okay, so Leo. So Leo, this solar eclipse is happening in your seventh house of other in Aquarius. So this is, it really depends. Not everybody is partnered. This is the house of committed relationships, often love partnerships, marriages, spouse, but it can also be partnership in terms of business. If you aren't in a committed relationship, then we look at this house really as the house of other, because it's opposite the house of self, which is here, the first house. So this is the house of other as well. It's also later was connected to contracts as well, the seventh house. So this is really looking at shifts related to your partner. So it could be literally related to your partner themselves. It could be related to your idea of partnership. It could be related to your partnership itself. Or it could just be, how you identify yourself and your needs and your desires in relation to what you give and what you take and what you share and what you want in somebody else, in a partner or the other. So there are some shifts coming here in the seventh house. This is an angular house, so it is quite a significant placement for Leos and Leo, especially Leo risings. It's ruled by Neptune and Saturn in your ninth house. So there is a really beautiful new chapter in terms of the ninth house is higher learning, wisdom, it's belief, it's your worldview, it's philosophy, it's law. Just giving examples. It could be the study of psychology. It could be astrology. It's overseas. It's foreign countries, foreign cultures. So it's a really new start for you in the ninth. You've got that real impetus from Saturn and Neptune in that Aries house. So it could be very possible that you have a new vision for yourself. A new vision for how you relate to life. That's the big question, what your beliefs are, or perhaps there's some knowledge that you want to pursue. You have a new vision. You're willing to put the hard work in. And perhaps whatever's changing here in the seventh is somehow releasing something or putting you in a better a place to pursue that in the ninth. You've got Jupiter moving through your 12th house. So this has been a real blessed transit for Leos, really providing that support, real nurturing support in Cancer to go deep, basically, and to look at, to go into the unconscious and to sift through anything in our lives that is holding us back, causing us pain, any memories that we're holding on to, any pain. Certainly, when we have transits through the 12th house, it could be a time to perhaps retreat and to become a little bit more introverted, because it's a time of looking in. It's a time of retreat. But with Jupiter here, it's by the time it leaves, towards, I think it's July. Sorry, I should know that. Or is it August? By the time it leaves, it really will have provided a beneficial time for us to really heal and to gain some spiritual liberation from some of those topics that are held on the 12th. And so exalted Jupiter is providing that beautiful trine here, to Pisces. So, this is a wonderful time for healing, connection with relationships or entanglements with people. Sometimes people that we have kind of karmic debts with. It could be a time of shared, people that you have shared resources with. That could be a spouse, it could be extended family, it could be some sort of, I don't know, business. It could be looking after strata money, or, it could be investments. But whatever it is, it's really providing incredibly beautiful, supportive vibes of compassion and love and connection, creativity, artistic beauty. So really a beautiful thing. The 8th house can also be psychology as well, and anxiety. So a wonderful alignment there to have in the often very difficult 8th house. Okay, I think that is it. Leo, have a wonderful rest of the week, and I will see you for my next video. Okay, Virgo. So this solar eclipse is happening in your 6th house, and it's sitting there with Mars as well. Mars is in its joy in the 6th house. So it's a lovely thing to have in your house. So solar eclipse is going to bring some changes, some shifts. Sometimes that can come from external events. Sometimes they're unexpected external events, but it's signaling that there are going to be some changes. They can be coming from inside of you as well, not always external, but there's going to be some shifts coming in your 6th house. Your 6th house is your day-to-day. It's a chop wood, carry water house. It's the things that we have to do to stay afloat. Life admin, paying bills, shopping, cleaning the house, dealing with, all the things that we have to deal with. It is also about maintaining your health. So it does represent, sometimes it can be injury or illness, but on the flip side, it's about health as well. So it's about making sure that your lifestyle is looking after your health and making any necessary changes that you might need in order to have better health. It also relates to your work colleagues, and it can be your work environment as well. So perhaps there's some shifts in your work environment as well. It is ruled by Neptune, by Saturn sitting in your 8th house. So your 8th house, there could be, shifts in, money that you share with other people or other people's resources. It could be inheritance. It can be investments. It could be debts. It could be taxes. It can be karmic entanglements as well. So soul contracts that we have with other people. There can be the house of anxiety and sort of deep psychology as well, sometimes taboo subjects, especially in the more modern sense. So a strong connection here, but what I'm really seeing here is that 8th house of those karmic entanglements and other people's resources, and this is a real fresh start for you here in Aries. And I think that there's going to be a strong impulse to really assert yourself in this area. That's going to better align to what it is that you need in those 8th house areas. And just coming back to the 6th house, you've got Mars in there. Mars is in its joy. So basically what this is saying to me is that, whatever you're going through in the 6th house, which can be a bit of a, it's the house of service. The Hellenistic astrologers in the past called it the house of slavery. And servitudes, and that's sometimes what it can feel like, all the sort of 6th house tasks we need to do. But really, I think being a Virgo, you're very organized. Usually, I know not all Virgos are organized, but there is that sense of keeping, all your ducks in a row, for me, there is. I'm not a particularly neat Virgo. I'm a Virgo sun. Anyway, the Mars there is really giving you that the drive just to keep going, to push through, that resilience there in the sixth house. And it's going to be a place of sort of transformation, you know, with Pluto there over the long run as well, over many years. You have Uranus sitting in your ninth house. So, you know, as I've said with everybody, it's not just you. Uranus there in a square to this solar eclipse really does up that element of surprise, disruptions, unexpected events. And it can also again, drive that sense of rebellion, revolution, really wanting freedom. So I think that could be quite a hard one because you've got the sixth house, which is all about obligation and commitment, doing the hard slog day to day. And you've got Uranus there going, be free, be free. So anyway, it's all about patience, and that's what Saturn is. You know, Saturn is there going, you know, you need to be patient. Keep your vision. Neptune's saying, keep your vision. Yeah, you'll get through. Especially interesting too, you've got, which I think is beautiful, you've got your ruler, Mercury sitting in your seventh house. It's in its fall, but it just means that I think for you, you know, it's in the house of relationship, in the house of other. So this might be a time where you may not be able to, or, you know, interact with your significant other or partners or other people, perhaps as intellectually or, you know, mentally as you want to, because Mercury here it's about to go retrograde soon too, but, you know, it is in its fall in the watery Pisces, because watery Pisces is all boundaryless, it's all about emotions, a connection. And so really, I think it's saying to you, Virgo, go with the flow, get into the creativity, use your intuition, you know, get a little bit emotional, because you have that beautiful exalted Venus here, conjoined the North Node, being supported beautifully by exalted Jupiter in your 11th house of friends. So whatever difficulties, and there may not be, but, you know, if there's any challenges that you're feeling from this eclipse, from the 8th house, it's really saying that you have beautiful nurturing support from your friends, from mentors, from allies, and also from your other. If you're in a partnered relationship or you have a significant other, they're providing that beautiful connection and support for you as well, and beauty. All right, Virgo, thank you. I look forward to talking to you next time. Okay, Libra. So the solar eclipse is happening in your 5th house, and the 5th house is your house of joy, creativity, pleasure. It's romance. It's bed pleasures. It is children. So, you know, there's going to be a shake-up. Something new is happening. And because you've got that square to Uranus, it could be something a little bit surprising. You know, solar eclipses are sudden changes. So that could be sudden, you know, often when there's a big change or a sudden event, that could mean closure and beginning. So oftentimes we have that sense of beginning, but also something has to fall away. So in this 5th house, it could be the end of a romance, but it could also be the beginning of a romance. It could be shifts for your children as well. Perhaps there's some, they're moving into a different part of their life. There's some big changes for them. It could be a time where you're really full of great ideas, especially, I think, for that 5th house, it's all about ideas and intellect, and creativity through ideas, and often disseminating ideas. So really, because as well, the ruler of your beautiful creative 5th house, which is a very fortunate house, is sitting there in the 7th, that is Saturn. There is some real initiating energy coming in for your partnerships. So if you're in a partnership, this could really be a renewal of your relationship. Perhaps there's certain parts that need to be reworked, renegotiated. That could, I mean, certainly, you know, all it could be some people's relationships break up, but it could also be for strong ones that it's just you bring something new into that relationship. For people who are not partnered, this could be really reevaluating what it is that you want from a partner. And obviously, a partner is a mirror to you. And so really, you could have been really going through, especially though with those eclipses, the nodes having gone through Libra not so long ago, that real sense of having redrawn, reestablished, or discovered parts of yourself, redrawn new boundaries, had a better understanding of what it is you want, what it is you desire, what it is you don't want as well. And so I think this is a real beautiful new dawn for you in that house of relationship. You've got Saturn there really going, it's got to be real. You've got to have good boundaries. You've got Venus giving you that beauty, the vision, the connection, the empathy. So yeah, very much about, I think, expressing yourself, Leo, and also, it could be that fifth house, finding a romance that leads to the seventh house with greater commitment as well. Either way, often change can be a little bit unsettling for people. So just the fact that we do have such a Uranian flavor to this, there could be a real sense of rebellion or breakthrough or suddenness to shifts that happen. But the beautiful thing is that you have that gorgeous, you've got beautiful Jupiter sitting in your 10th house, and really it's been providing amazing support to you. And it's in that beautiful trine here to your Venus, which is also exalted in Pisces. It's conjoined the station North Node. This is really, really auspicious. It's seen as to be very fated and karmic as well because it's on that North Node. So I think this is really providing blessings, support for your health, for your day-to-day life and work, in terms of people that you work with. It really bodes for sort of healing or better harmony, but with greater compassion. And of course, that's linked up to your 10th house of your career as well. So very beautiful alignment there for you. And of course, Venus can't actually see is in aversion to, can't actually see because it's right next to the fifth house. Either way, though, it is providing such beautiful creativity as well. So if you have any sort of creative outlet, this is a wonderful time to explore that. And that could be, if you're not an artist yourself, or if you it could be going into the gardening and, anything at all. It could be going to concerts. It could be, seeing movies, whatever it is. It's a very beautiful creative time. Okay, I think that's it. Just coming back, I did mention Uranus. It's in that 8th house, leaving soon in April. But, if there are any sudden changes or events, they could also be tied back to 8th house themes, meaning it could be tied to shared resources, karmic entanglements, those sort of aspects of your life as well, inheritance, tax. Anyway, it is the house of death as well. I don't want to freak people out, but I've had Saturn moving through there all the last 2.5 years. So yeah, just so you're aware. All right. Beautiful time for your pets as well. I was going to say in that 6th house, beautiful time to buy a pet as well. All right, everybody. Thank you, Libra. I'll talk to you next time. Okay, Scorpio. Sorry, I just had to pause for a second and just have a little break. So the solar eclipse is happening in your 4th house of family, home, parents. It's your most private sphere. It's your ancestral foundations, your roots. It can be ancestral lands as well. And so, there are some changes, possible changes or shifts or external events that can really ask you to reassess your home environment, And with Aquarius there, it could be a real sense of groups, of ideas needing to be restructured, wanting to improve something as well. But it is ruled by Saturn in your sixth house of service, work, obligation, health, day-to-day sort of life admin obligations that we all have to do. And so really this is connected to this new fresh start in your sixth house. This could be a new way of a new lifestyle, basically a real fundamental lifestyle change that is related to your health, improving your health. It could be a new work environment as well. It could also be sixth house, the house of pets as well. Could be getting a new pet. But yeah, whatever changes is happening in the fourth, obviously it can be a little bit unsettling. The fourth house is our sanctuary, it's our foundations, and we all feel, if you've ever moved house, you know how unsettling it is, or if you've got some leak in the roof, or and certainly anything involving family is very deeply felt. So solar eclipses initiate change. They can be quite sudden, and it's whatever event is, it can be beginnings, new beginnings, and obviously endings as well. And you've got Uranus as well in a tight square to your fourth house. So that's from your seventh house. So there could be some surprises related to a partner, a financial partner, or a spouse, or a marriage partner. If you're not in a partnership, it could be more your sense of what you want from other people, but there could be a link to that from the seventh house. So I guess what I would say is if you do feel unsettled, if there's anything going on, Scorpio, just remember you have Mars actually sitting in that house, your ruler. And you also have your modern ruler Pluto sitting there as well. So I would say that whatever is happening around this time for you, that this solar eclipse is initiating really will be potentially quite powerful and transformational for you. The thing with eclipses, it doesn't always mean it's going to happen exactly on the eclipse or exactly on the days after. It could be something that unfolds in the next 6 months following this eclipse, but definitely see some really big transformations there in home, family, parents, and that sector of your life. So the other really beautiful thing that you have is that you have Jupiter sitting here in your ninth house. It's exalted in Cancer, so it has been a real blessed time for you in terms of your worldview, your belief systems, higher knowledge, higher wisdom. This can be, related to foreign cultures, traveling, it can be law. So this is in a beautiful trine to exalted Venus here in your fifth house, conjoined the station North Node. And so this is a really, really beautiful time for you to get your creativity, to get your creative muse happening. It's a wonderful time for relationships as well, for pleasure, any sort of pleasurable activities that you have with people, with your family, with your friends. It could be romance as well. And yeah, it could be, that you have a creative, you have a creative project or any sort of pastime that you have that is very beautiful. And it kind of, relates back to the ninth house as well of belief as well, which makes me think of my friend who's taken up her yoga regularly again, but anything that brings you pleasure. Okay, so even though you have potentially sort of unsettling changes happening in your fourth house, perhaps related to a partner, I really think that your sense of faith and purpose, your creativity, and making sure that you're doing the things that bring you pleasure is really going to be something that supports you over the coming months after this solar eclipse. Okay, Scorpio, talk to you next time. Sagittarius. So this solar eclipse is happening in your third house. So This is really, we're talking about sudden shifts or events that bring change, often new beginnings. It can bring closure to your third house. So this is related to, well, it's related to siblings as well. It's also, your local neighborhood. So especially here with Aquarius, it's all about groups, it's about community, it's about shared ideals. And so some changes here. Third house is very much about communication as well. So it could be writing, media, just talking to your neighbors. So there's some big shifts happening here in that third house, and that's going to continue over several years with Pluto in there for the long haul, really transforming how you communicate, what you want to communicate. It's also going to transform your mind, your thinking structure, all of those things. And it is ruled by Saturn sitting in your fifth house. So sitting there with Neptune. So this is really auspicious. There are some big new changes coming for you in the fifth house. This is a house of all things pleasurable, things that give you pleasure, give you joy. It is about creativity. It's about, if you're an artist, it could be artistry. It's very much about romance, bed pleasures. It's about, it's the house of children as well. So it's a real fresh start there for you in the fifth house. So there's a link there and a real initiatory energy, I think, that's going to push change from that third house of community and communication as well. And, Uranus, as I've told everybody, is in a tight square to this solar eclipse. So there is that real element of disruption, the unexpected, breakthroughs. It can be a sense of rebellion or revolution as well. Uranus is the planet of, it's called the Great Awakener. So it can really awaken something in you as well. And then you have this beautiful, your ruler Jupiter sitting in your eighth house, which is a lovely place to have Jupiter, bringing blessings, expansion, and real nurturing support to any karmic relationships that you have, karmic entanglements, soul contracts, any shared resources or financial resources, or other people's money. It can be fine. It can be inheritances, it can be taxes, it can be debts. It can also be a sense of psychology and anxiety as well in that house. But that is, Jupiter is exalted here and sending a beautiful trine down to, over here, to Venus, exalted in Pisces with the conjoined North Node, or conjoined the North Node. So this is a beautiful time for family connections, for love, for empathy, for healing as well. I'm just going to pause this. Sorry, I just had to open the door then. So where was I? Yeah, so it's really beautiful for your home, for love, support, connections, empathy, connection, with parents, with family, for beautifying your home, making it, beautiful and soft and comfortable. Yeah. And there's that beautiful nurturing support from the eighth house as well. So, you've got support from other people in your life as well, I would say there. Beautiful alignment. If you're all creative, that could be redecorating, redesigning, freshening up the house. If you work from home, it could be pursue, artistic sort of endeavors at home as well. So I think that's all I wanted to say to you, Sagittarius. Wishing you all the best, and I'll talk to you next time. Okay, Capricorn. So Capricorn, when I think of you, I think of that amazingly auspicious new moon that you had in your first house, which was back, oh gosh, where was it now? Early February? I start forgetting. No, it was before that. Terrible with memory. But so you had those amazing new beginnings, really, that real initiatory energy in your first house, where you probably perhaps, changed the course. Your long-term goals might have shifted a bit or completely shifted. And that perhaps be something that you're now working towards. So this solar eclipse is happening in your second house of resources, your finances, your livelihood. It is, yeah, all your material resources. It's basically how you look after yourself financially, how you survive. So there's some, this solar eclipse is going to herald some big changes in this area. They may not happen straight away. They may not happen with a bang, but within 6 months, I would expect that you're really making perhaps, it could be some changes, some closures in some areas, some new beginnings. It could be related to your values as well, because in a sense, how we make money is related to our values, what's important to us, our relationship to our money as well, to our finances. And so perhaps there is changes in that sense coming, especially I would say that could be related to groups, to social ideals as well, especially because that's in Aquarius. It could be related to the dissemination of ideas, possibly. And that solar eclipse is ruled by Saturn, your ruler, as well. So it's all very Saturnian, which you're very familiar with. So you've got Saturn has moved now into your fourth house, sitting there with Neptune. So these are a real strong, well, it's a fresh start in your fourth house, basically, of home, family, parents, ancestral lands, lineage, roots. And so somehow perhaps it's possible that whatever changes you make in terms of your livelihood and how you make money could have some sort of connection to that, to your home, family, and your house, the actual structure itself. And as I said, you've got Uranus tightly squaring this solar eclipse, and that's sitting here in the in your fifth house. So, there could be some real unexpected changes, surprises. It could be related to your children. It could be related to how you express yourself creatively, what you like to do in your pastime. It could be an unexpected end to a romance, start to a romance. You know, so the other thing that's really beautiful for you is that you have beautiful Venus exalted here in your third house of communication, your local environment, your community, how you communicate. It's conjoined the station North Node, and it is in a beautiful trine here to Neptune in your seventh house of Cancer. So there's a real sense that you're getting real loving support, nurturing support from others. If you're in a relationship, that could be your spouse, your partner, your committed relationship that you're in, really providing beautiful support here for your third house. That could be related to siblings. It's about how you communicate, what you want to communicate. It's related to your mind, your day-to-day mind, how you think. And there could be some short trips as well. So it's a wonderful time to go around and see your local area, to visit some beautiful places, to share your ideas, especially any sort of compassionate social causes or relational or artistic expressions that you have in that third house with the local community as well. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to say to you. So Capricorn, all the best, and I look forward to talking to you next time. Okay, Aquarius. So you have this solar eclipse happening in your first house. So this is very significant to you. It really is, the first house is the helm of your ship. It's you, it's your body, it's your mind, it's your soul, it's your vitality, it's your physicality, it's what your character, what your temperament, what you show to the world. So it's your values, all of those things. So there is, and this, I would say this is significant eclipse. It's ruled by Saturn, your ruler as well. And I guess I said in the intro, it's at the end part of Aquarius. So I really think that there could be shifts in your identity, in yourself. That could be, there could be external events. It could be an inner realization as well. But whatever it is, there's going to be some changes, and anytime we have some changes, we have closures or endings as well, because when we change, we bring in the new. And in order to bring in the new, we have to make room, and usually something has to finish or end. So there's a real sense of you growing as a person, your sense of self, what it is you want, you desire, how you see yourself. And it's very much connected to your third house of communication there with Neptune and Saturn sitting there at the beginning, 0 degrees in your third house. So there's a real sense of a new start in terms of, it could be a relationship with your siblings. It could be, your local community, the ideas that you share in that local community. It could be your neighbors. It is very much about communication. You might have a media project that you are working on or that you do regularly. So it's a whole new phase in that sphere of your life, and in the way you think as well, your day-to-day mind. And I think that's very obvious too. When something within you changes, something in your outer world changes within your life as well. So I think that sense of changes within you are going to be expressed somehow in your local community, in how you communicate, perhaps your writing, podcasting, any of those things. And note that, you have Uranus at the end of your fourth house here. So there could also, whatever surprise event or action that may or may not occur, but, generally you'll find that change comes through up to 6 months after a solar eclipse or an eclipse. It could be in some way related to literally where you live, your house, your parents, your family, your home. Some aspect of your home could be changing. Yeah. And, with that, I would say that with that square there could be a sense of rebelliousness as well, wanting to set yourself free, wanting to liberate yourself. It could be a sense of revolution as well. I mean, that's a very strong word, but, breaking free. The other thing, Uranus can be thinking out the box as well, unconventional thinking, eccentricity as well. And then the final thing I just wanted to mention, you have that beautiful Jupiter sitting in your sixth house, making your chop wood, carry water sort of day-to-day chores that much better. So it's really expanding and bringing blessings to your day-to-day life, your routines, to better support your health, to better support you, to be more organized. And it also brings expansions and blessings for your work environment and relationships with work colleagues. And in particular, that is in that beautiful trine that I mentioned earlier here to exalted Venus as well. So we've got the two benefics, the greater and the less benefic in a divine trine. That sounds good. And Venus is conjoined the North Node here, which is considered a very fated and sort of karmic alignment. So this is a beautiful time for you in terms of your financial resources. Venus obviously rules money as well, symbolically. So luxury, money, luck in those areas, but also I think especially it could be your values, how you value your money, your relationship to money, how you want to use your money, how you make your money. But either way too, it could be the people that you might have a shared, people that you are involved with your livelihood as well. But it says that it's a time of beautiful relationships, great compassion, great, potentially great harmony as well, great creativity as well. So Venus in Pisces is specifically known for, beautiful artistic and creative drive. And I think with that Jupiter trine to it as well, it really speaks of expansion and support and nurturance as well. So yeah, Jupiter has your back in your day-to-day living and your work, in that sense, if you're going to make it, whatever you're doing in that second house. Okay, I think that it is it, Aquarius. All the best, and I'll talk to you next time. Hi, Pisces. So this solar eclipse is happening in your, hang on, that's not Pisces, is it? There's Pisces. I was going to say that didn't look right. Here we go. Okay, so Pisces, this solar eclipse is happening in your 12th house. So the 12th house is the house of our unconscious. It's often the place where we have aspects of ourselves that are hidden even to ourselves. Sometimes there can be aspects that are a little bit painful memories, traumas or sorrows or regrets that we hold. And so this solar eclipse in the 12th house is really bringing in some sort of change or shift in this part of your life. And it is, I just want to, the 12th house is basically called the joy of Saturn. And this solar eclipse is ruled by Saturn. One of Saturn's sort of older significations is as the, the boundary marker, because it has that symbolism of demarcating or representing the boundary between what is known, what is not known, between spirit and material, and so it can often have that idea of what we're conscious of and what we're not conscious of. And so ruling this solar eclipse, I think it's a real invitation to look within, and to really work through any difficult aspects that you may have, like we all have, and to do a bit of sort of excavating, shining a light on it, especially with the solar eclipse. We symbolically, when the light of the sun is obscured by the moon, there's this opportunity in that liminal space in the darkness to perceive things that otherwise are often not visible because the sun is so bright. And so this would be a really good time to perhaps retreat and to really use your perceptions and your thoughts, perhaps meditation or quiet time or long walk somewhere peaceful, to really listen to what is coming up for you. Yeah, so I think with this, any changes that are now happening in that 12th house, it's, the ultimate gift of any work that we do in the 12th house is karmic release, spiritual, obviously we'll never be completely spiritual liberated, but, working towards greater spiritual liberation. So letting go of things that are operating from the shadows or holding us down. So it's a very important house to be working on. Not always an easy one, but it might be a good time just to be in a nice, quiet, comfortable, quiet retreat, basically. So this is actually ruled by Saturn sitting in your second house. So whatever sort of restructuring, whatever you work on in the 12th house, may in some way be connected to your second house. So you may be reviewing, because there's with Saturn and Neptune sitting in your second house at that 0 degree, there is a real strong impetus for change, for a fresh start in your second house of Aries. So this could be very much about realigning, what you want, what you desire, what your goals are, what you believe better in the second house, and making some changes there, perhaps a complete change as well that's going to unfold over the next few years. You've got Uranus sitting there in your third house. Uranus is in a tight square to this lunation. So it does have that sense of disruption, unexpectedness to any sort of events related to that solar eclipse. But Uranus is also the great liberator, the great awakener. So this could really speak to the fact that you have some really important insights, some breakthroughs, perhaps a real sense of wanting to free yourself from something, to live more authentically. And so, yeah, and ultimately, I think that's going to tie back to your day-to-day life within the community, how you express yourself. It could be related to a sibling as well, but your daily mind, basically, and what it is that you communicate, how you communicate, when you communicate as well. Yeah, but I think especially, when we're looking at Aquarius, it's got that real sense of groups as well. So I think it's a wonderful time if you've got groups of people around you that are supportive. It's a wonderful time to lean on them as well. And lastly, to finish off, you have this beautiful, beautiful Jupiter exalted in your Cancer in your 5th house. So this is really about expanding and blessings for things that make you happy, things that give you pleasure, for pastimes that are enjoyable, for any artistic or creative expression that you have. It can be relating to blessings and expansions in a romance, in children as well. So it's the house of children. And it's in this beautiful trine to exalted Venus in your 1st house. And Venus is exalted in Pisces and conjoined the North Node. So, whatever I would say, whatever changes or whatever is coming up for you in terms of those 12th house themes, you'll have this beautiful, beautiful, blessed, almost sort of fated with the North Node there, support for you. So I would say self-love, the love that you're able to project out onto other people, empathy, compassion, the relationships, and your creativity. So in that sense, you have that beautiful support from the two benefics for your person, your emotions, your body, your mind, your desires, your artist, your creative output, or your children, support from your children, or just going out and doing things that you enjoy, either by yourself or with your friends as well. So really, really auspicious and beautiful Pisces. And how lovely now that you have Saturn out of your 1st house, because Saturn would have really Saturn's the hard taskmaster. So Saturn brings us wisdom, but often through trial, often through difficulty. It can make us feel a bit isolated, frustrated, held back. It can bring depression as well, So well done, Pisces, for getting through that. And now you're blessed by this beautiful alignment here in your 1st house. Anyway, wishing you all the best for the solar eclipse, and I look forward to speaking to you at the next video. Now, I just want to say, I probably should have said this at the beginning, but if anybody would like to read, I do a much more in-depth astrological report, and I also have horoscopes there where I go into a lot more detail. If you'd like a reading, if you'd like to explore some part of your chart, if you'd like to have some insight into perhaps something that's happening in your life or something that's coming up and you'd like to share that, sort of get a connection to what's happening in the stars and how that lines up for you, please go to my website and get a reading as well. Just click on the reading part. So my website is lifetreeastrology, all one word.com. And if you go to the Astral Musings part, you'll find my writing there and my posts on the lunations as well. So wishing you all the very, very best. And I look forward to speaking to you next time. Thanks, everybody.